Jeff Bezos is the founder of Amazon, and Shah Rukh Khan is the king of Bollywood in India. Join me in this video, where Jeff Bezos is interviewed with Shah Rukh Khan.
Shah Rukh and Zoya, it's now over to you for the next 30 minutes or so.
Thank you very much, Mandira. Thank you, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this fireside chat. A big round of applause for Zoya. And a bigger round of applause for most of the people who are employed by Jeff. For Jeff Bezos. I asked him, what is the nicest thing about Jeff when I spoke to the team about a week back, and they said his laughter. He has the most infectious, most beautiful, most honest laughter in the world. Thank you, Jeff, for making us laugh, making us feel good, and for your laughter. Thank you for being amidst us. So how has it been, Jeff? You've been in Mumbai now for a day, in Delhi, you've been traveling. We saw you flying kites on Makar Sankranti.
The kite flying was fun, but the kids told me that the right way to do it is I needed to have glass on my string so I could cut all the other kites, but we didn't do that. But it was any day when you get to fly a kite, that's a good day. And so my trip to India has started off right with some kite flying.
And I saw some of your pictures at the Rajghat, the Gandhi Memorial, Gandhi Samadhi. How was that?
Very meaningful. There's a man who truly changed the entire world, taught the principles of nonviolence. He's renowned everywhere, and it was a great honor to be able to go there and lay a wreath.
And I want to know, do you think Gandhiji and his philosophy of nonviolence, is it more relevant now?
I think it will be relevant forever. And it's one of those things everybody knows is true, and yet it's somehow very hard to achieve.
Okay, wonderful. And tell me, Jeff has been here a few times before. This is first time in Mumbai?
It's my first time in Mumbai. I've been to India. This is my fourth trip to India, but my first time in Mumbai. And I've always wanted to come to Mumbai because the guy who leads Amazon India, Amit, who's sitting right here in the front table, I've known Amit for 20 years. And over 20 years, I've heard little stories about his father. And every time I hear a story about Amit's father, I get more and more intrigued and want to meet him. And he's one of these guys who, Amit has done all these incredibly impressive things in his life. And somehow I get the impression that Amit's father is completely unimpressed by all of these things. And so the more I learn about Amit's father, the more curious I get. And this has been going on for 2 decades. And tomorrow night, I get to have dinner with Amit's father.
I hope Amit, Dad, is impressed by Jeff. Special guest here, Lauren, welcome to India. Thank you for being here. Priya, wonderful chatting with you backstage. And tell me, have you seen any perceptible change in India apart from the traffic when you came last?
Apart from the traffic.
Apart from traffic.
It's interesting. So I guess the first time I came to India was about 11 years ago. I don't know that I have seen perceptible changes of any great magnitude. What I would actually say is that I notice there's certain things that seem to me to be the same. And I love those things. One of the things I notice every time I come here is that there is so much energy here and dynamism and color. The word I would use for it is the whole place seems so full of life. And everywhere you go, every single thing you do, and the diversity of India. When I come here, I've never seen a more diverse place. Everywhere I travel in the world, nowhere more diverse than India. So the energy, self-improvement. Every time I come here, I find that the people that I talk to are focused on and interested in being better tomorrow than they are today. Everybody here seems to be focused on self-improvement. So when I get here, I get a boost of energy. I go back and I'm like, wow, it's so alive here.
Yes, and you guys are going to work extra hours at Amazon when he gets back.
And coming in off diversity and dynamism, let's go to business. Did you think online retail would get this big?
Oh, no. So, when I started Amazon, it was 25 years ago. I started Amazon in 1994. When I went to seek investors, the first question I had to answer is what is the internet? None of my investors had ever heard of the internet. And the idea that I had in mind was to build a bookstore. I realized that we could build a store which would have every book ever printed in any language, in print or out of print. And we could do that online. It would be impossible in a physical store. And that was the founding idea of Amazon. But did I expect what would happen today? No. You know, we started, I've been at Amazon when it was one person, me, when it was 10 people, when it was 100 people, when it was 1,000 people. And today, when it's more than 700,000 people and approaching 70,000 people just here in India. So no, I did not predict that. And actually, I think if anybody had predicted that, they would have needed to be immediately institutionalized in a mental facility because it's not a normal thing to have happen. My dream when I started Amazon was that one day we might be able to afford a forklift. So it's been a very fun journey for me. And by the way, I still tap dance into work. I'm having so much fun.
So how many forklifts you have now?
What's that?
How many forklifts you have
I
now?
have no idea. It's an uncountable number of forklifts. It's...
I want to know. You see, I understand this. This is wonderful what you're saying, and it's very inspiring to hear you talk and about a concept that the whole world and the investors didn't even know about, and to start 25 years ago from that. But when you were 6 years old,
Yeah.
or 7 or 8,
Yeah.
what did you actually want to be? I mean, of course, or did you know then?
Well, it's so funny. So when I was a kid, I went through so many stages of doing, I think when I was in first grade, so how old are you in first grade? You're like 6 or 7 in first grade. I wanted to be an archaeologist. And that was pre-Indiana Jones. So it's not that. And then I wanted to be many different things, but ultimately I really wanted to be a physicist. And I went to college to study physics, and I realized halfway through I was never going to be a great physicist. And so I started studying computer science. And computer science I really fell in love with, and it became a real passion of mine. And that's how I ended up doing Amazon.
Okay. You want to ask him?
I want to know if, I mean, of course, barring everything that's illegal, is there anything you don't sell on Amazon?
Anything we don't sell?
Yeah, or anything you tried to sell and didn't work? Anything you've
Oh,
decided
well,
not
there
to
are
go
things
through?
we tried to sell that didn't work. We tried to sell a phone called the Fire Phone, and we worked on it for 4 years, and no one bought it. I think my mother bought one, and I don't think she was that happy with it. But it is. But no, there are things that we deliberately don't sell. We don't sell guns. We don't sell tobacco. There are things we don't sell, but and that we make deliberate decisions about. But other than those things, we try to sell everything that anyone might want to buy, and we're trying to make it as convenient as possible for people. You know, in the early 21st century, we're all busy. Everybody in this room is busy. And if you can save people time, let them spend more time with their families and with their friends and doing the things that they really enjoy, then you're doing them a real service.
Okay. Yes, it's very convenient being online. You're also busy. When was the last time you shopped at a brick and mortar store?
In a physical store?
Yeah, in a physical store. And what do you think is the future of physical stores? But when was the last time you went to a physical
The
store and
last
bought
time
something?
I shopped in a physical store, well, I go to the grocery store. Even though we sell groceries, sometimes I go to the grocery store because I kind of enjoy it. I'm not a good cook, but I like to cook a little bit. So I'll go to the store. I'm a very inefficient shopper because when I get to the grocery store, I don't know where anything is. So I walk the aisles and I don't have a plan, but I'll put together some kind of meal and make a dinner. So yeah, probably the last time I went to a physical store was for groceries.
When was the last
Actually,
time
I
you
went to a
brick
physical
and
store
mortar?
today. I went to a I Have Space store. I went to a tiny little, I forget the word, help me, what is it called?
Kirana.
Kirana. And it was an incredible experience. It's this tiny little store, and they also are a pickup point for Amazon packages. We have a whole program, and we have thousands of these points of presence now where they do their regular business, but then they also provide a place where people can come pick up their packages. And I talked to this young man who helps his parents run the store and about how it has really improved their lives to have that extra source of income It was a very moving experience. So that's the absolute last time I was at a physical store, today.
Okay.
You should ask him this. When were you in a store?
That's a good
when
question.
When have you gone grocery shopping? I want to know.
I do. See, I'm going to plug my own product. Yes, I do all my book shopping at Amazon.
Thank you. I knew I liked you right away.
My grocery is from Big Basket. And I have a confession to make. Don't make this a thing. But my underwear, still, I'm not confident to shop online. It's a boy thing. You know, you don't tell your size and stuff. So I feel
good
awkward.
to know.
Okay, I want to know, do you shop on Amazon?
Yeah.
And if you have something, the service you don't like,
Yeah.
so do you just pick up the phone, call your team of 700,000 people, and tell them, I don't like this, change this, or
You know
is there
what
a
I
system?
do? So I don't do this, it doesn't happen that often, but if I get a delivery that I don't like, maybe I don't like the way it's packaged or something, we have regular meetings of the senior executive team, and I bring the box to the meeting. And when I walk in, I haven't done this in a while, it's been a while, but when I bring in a box, everybody in the room is like, oh no, he's bringing in a box, because it's always some problem. But really the way I get feedback is primarily from my email address is very well known, and I keep it well known. And I get hundreds and hundreds of emails every day from customers, and they always have something interesting to say when something goes wrong. Because we have hundreds of millions of customers around the world, and no matter how good we are, we can still be better. You can always be better. Customers have a divine discontent, and they teach you if you listen to customers. So we watch for that, and we see patterns, and we can find places where it's not working, something's going wrong, and that's really how I get the feedback, is from customer input. And often, you know, in all caps, angry, you ruined my child's birthday because the gift didn't show up on time. And we take that, and what you really want to do is you take that, it's an anecdote, it's a single example, but you need to find the root cause. What went wrong deep inside the system? How did this happen? Because then you can fix it for everyone, so that that particular problem will never happen again. You don't just fix the symptom, you have to fix the root cause. And that's been the secret to our operational success for 20 years.
Most of the people here, Jeff, are from, lots of them I see, are from the film industry. And it was very heartening when Amazon started creating original content.
Yeah.
And filmmakers, Zoya, Kabir Khan there, this is a pompous set of people.
No.
I'm telling you, trust me. You've just started Amazon Prime, 3 years, you'll find out. Okay. So we don't think of our films as just products, you know.
Right.
So there's a very clear demarcation, you know. Some of them think we do a film for the creative fun of it,
Yeah.
for the artistry of it.
Yes.
Oh yeah, this one is for business. We don't look down upon it, but we clearly demarcate it.
Yeah.
So we know this girl, this boy, artist, we won't make the money. This one is for money. Now you are into original content. The company's into original content in a big way. What's your stance on it? Are you still that person who says, no, I'm going to do this for the creativity, the artistry, forget the business? No, I'm doing this only for the business. Or is it a mix of both and you say, just put on lots of stuff, let someone come on the store and find whatever they want? I'm easy with that.
I think this is a great question. It's actually something we debate. And I think if you look at the very best things in the world, they do both. And I think this is a golden age of television. So when you look at, you know, TV series today, the really good TV series are, in terms of quality, they're as good as the very best movies have ever been. And you're getting the best storytellers to come do television. You're getting the best actors to now come do television. One of the great storytellers is right here. Thank you for the help.
Thank you.
And this is a big deal when you can get the very best people, because this is one of those businesses where the viewer is always looking for something a little fresh. And so you can never find a formula, because as soon as you find a formula, it's not fresh anymore. They're always looking for something a little new. So it really takes human ingenuity. It takes people. The storytellers have to be in touch with the zeitgeist. And what I want Amazon Studios to be all over the world, I want us to be known as the most talent-friendly studio in the world. And the reason you need to do that, thank you, is because at the end of the day, it is the talent that makes those stories. Storytelling is the oldest thing that humans do. We've been doing it for thousands and thousands of years, long before there was written language, before there was any medium to convey it. People sat around and they told each other stories. And it's how we teach each other things. And we learn from stories. We learn from fiction. We learn from fiction because we get to live an alternate life. In that moment, you watch this and you're learning it. So it can be fun, it can be action, it can be funny, it can be comedy, but the very best things take those elements and teach a little something. There's something in there that you walk away with and you're inspired by it. And it doesn't matter if it's drama, comedy, anything, you're going to walk away with something. And there needs to be lightness. You know, you can't watch something that's just all heavy and you're like, oh my God, you know, I want to kill myself now. There also has to be that gesture. There has to be somebody who brings you out and lets you breathe a little bit. So this is so hard to do. That's why there is so many bad movies and so many bad TV shows, because it is one of the hardest things that humans do, is tell riveting, engaging, inspiring stories. But when you get it right, it's a lever that can change the world.
Are you a competitive producer?
Sorry, I'm making him speak too much.
Oh, you're giving me water.
Yes.
Okay. See, and he claims that the people in this industry are pompous. I don't believe him. I was talking to him backstage, and he's one of the most humble people I've ever met.
It's only because my last few films haven't done well. That's all.
I'm sorry, what were you asking?
Are you a competitive producer?
Or my what?
A competitive producer, and I don't mean business-wise, I mean creatively. Like, would you see a film or a show on another platform, like what you described, which is brilliant, and be like, why don't I have this?
Well, I have regrets. I mean, we've turned down things that later were so good, I wish we hadn't turned them down. But we've also picked up things that other people turned down, and we've made them great. And so the truth is, the storytelling is infinite. If I tell a good story, it doesn't make your story bad. There is not, these are not substitute products. You know, so it is, I don't feel like you get the best results with storytelling by trying to make sure that other people's stories are worse than your stories. This is one of those things where there can be a lot of good stories in the world. You're really competing not against others, you're competing against just the complexity of how hard it is. That's why you guys have all seen this. If you're in the entertainment business, there are movies and TV shows where you know the people involved, and every one of those people is talented, and still the final product is bad. It happens, and because there's a little bit of mystery to it. We don't know how to do it perfectly, and that's what makes it so fun, because there is an artistic element to it. It is not science.
What are you watching right now?
I just binge-watched season 4 of The Expanse, which is a show that Amazon, it's a science fiction show set in space. It's a show that Amazon picked up from the Sci-Fi Channel, and it's fantastic. They were canceling it. It didn't work on broadcast, but it's working really well on streaming. And so I'm really glad we picked up the show. And by the way, we did make it better. Season 4 is the best season of The Expanse. It's incredible. But I just watched the whole thing in a weekend. It's good.
You started Prime Video in India 3 years ago?
Yes.
And since I'm a tiny part of it, and so is the company I work with.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to know how it's panned out for you. How's it working for you in India?
It's working great. In fact, if we look at just in India, number of hours watched in the last 2 years has grown by 6 times. Amazon Video, Prime Video is doing well all over the world. It's doing well in Japan, it's doing well in Germany, it's doing well in the US, it's doing well in South America. It's doing well everywhere, but it's actually not doing, there's nowhere it's doing better than in India. And it's really incredible what is happening. And it drives, because it's the Prime membership program, from a business point of view, we also like the business results because it drives people to join Prime, and then once they've joined Prime, they enjoy the fast, free shipping, so they also buy a lot of products from us. So it's a vehicle to make fantastic content, and from a business point of view, it works for us as well. So we love it. We're doubling down. We actually just made a decision to double down on our Prime Video investments here in India.
Before I met Jeff, my understanding was that he'd be a very busy person. He is a very busy person. You're flying around, handling so many things, so many people all around the world, looking at investors, looking at customers. But for a person who's so busy, he's the most easygoing and happy person that I've met in my life. Thank you for being so cool. I wanted to ask you, because I suddenly realized while chatting with you there, what do you think? Let me ask Zoya first. Is there something you think is a sheer waste of time? Like for me, unlike Amit, sleeping is a waste of time. I feel it's a waste of life. You can't sleep. Sleeping, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't sleep because I think it's a waste of time. So what according to you is a waste of time? Then I want to ask Jeff, what is the biggest waste of time he thinks?
I think sycophancy, chamchagiri as we call it, sycophancy. I think, sorry, pardon my French, kissing butt is a big waste of time. I think you could spend that time really honing your craft, improving your skills.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, so you think butt licking is a waste of time?
Apple polishing.
Apple polishing. The better way to put on stage.
It's hard to disagree with that. Look, there are a lot of things that are a waste of time. You know, when you think about your life, I think, I often tell people that I work with, if you can get, because people have very high standards for how they want their work life to be. And I said, look, if you can get your work life to be where you enjoy half of it, that is amazing. Because very few people ever achieve that. Because the truth is, everything comes with overhead. That's reality. Everything comes with pieces that you don't like. You could be a Supreme Court justice, and there's still going to be pieces of your job you don't like. You can be a university professor, and it's still going to be, you have to go to committee meetings, and you have to do things. You know, every job comes with pieces you don't like. And we need to say, that's just how, that's part of it. And not resent those pieces, or try not to, but also try to minimize them. I tell senior executives, you should have the least stress. You know, there's this weird, I think, false idea that CEOs, I'm a CEO, there's this false idea that CEOs are under the most stress. Well, I look at that, I'm like, why? You're in charge. Why don't you delegate the stress? It's your choice. And so you have to figure out how to set up your life in such a way that you can minimize the things. And I find people don't dislike hard work. What people dislike is being out of control. Like they can't control their life. They can't control their environment. This happens to me when I get overscheduled. I hate being overscheduled. I want some time to be able to think and free myself. We all have the same amount of time in the world. Nobody has more time than anybody else. And when you become a very successful person, one of the things, you start to get overscheduled. You have this event. You had to agree to do this. And maybe last night you were like, why did I agree to do this? I have to go on stage tomorrow. I wish I were really with my family. And, you know, or I hope maybe not this case. Let's say that you like this one. But in general, that kind of thing happens. And so you have to guard your time and try to stay a little bit flexible. So that's, for me, it's not a waste of time, but I like to have some freedom of movement rather than having every minute of every day scheduled.
Yeah, we make sure this fireside chat is 7 minutes more. Don't worry. We'll pack it up. Quickly, ask your questions quickly.
I'm sure you've been asked this 500 times, but what is your one hot tip for somebody on the onset of their career?
On the onset of their career?
Yeah, when they're just starting out.
Well, so a young person starting their career, I think there are probably a lot of things. Some of them are very well known and people have heard them many times, they're still true. One of those is you should always focus on, a young person should find something that they're passionate about to do. And that's not going to surprise anyone. It's a clear thing to do. It's very hard. If you don't love your work, you're never going to be great at it. I think the other thing I would suggest to any young person, even before they start their career, is to really think about their choices. Because I find young people, and when I was young, I made this mistake too. You can get very fixed on your gifts. So everybody has gifts. You know, you have gifts and you have things that you didn't get gifted. Maybe you're extremely beautiful. Maybe you're extremely good at mathematics. Maybe there are a lot of things that you can be given. But those things can confuse you because they're not the things that construct your life. It's your choices that construct your life, not your gifts. You can celebrate your gifts. Be proud of them. Be happy of them. Actually, don't be proud of them. Be celebratory of them, but you can't be proud because they're gifts. They were given to you. You didn't earn them. You can only be proud of the things you earn. And so as I got older, I started to realize I wasn't proud of my gifts. I was always good at school. School was always easy for me, and I was always proud that I was a great student. I got A's in all my classes. I was good at math, all of that. And I thought that's who I was, but it's not true. Those are the things that are gifts. What was hard for me is deciding to work hard, deciding to use my gifts in certain ways, to challenge myself, to do things that I didn't think I could do, to put myself in uncomfortable situations. We all get, I would say to a young person, you can choose a life of ease and comfort, or you can choose a life of service and adventure. Which one of those, when you're 90 years old, are you going to be more proud of?
Service and adventure for all the young entrepreneurs. There's an enterprise, a concept very close to your heart. Zoya and me a week back started reading upon it, watched some videos, and I don't know if very many people are aware of it. We'd like you to talk about the Blue Origin.
Oh, yeah.
What it is, how did it start, and what is your vision for it?
Well, Blue Origin is my space company, and I have been interested in space since I was a 5-year-old boy. I watched Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin step onto the surface of the moon, and I believe it's important that humanity expand out into the solar system. I think it's important for this planet. We have a very small planet, and humanity has now gotten very big. Anybody who doesn't believe in climate change, 20 years ago, maybe you could excuse people for wondering if it's real. Today, there's so much evidence. The people who don't believe in the problem of climate change are really fooling themselves. It's an important problem, and one of the ways, there are many things we have to do about that, about climate change. But long term, one of the things that we need to do if we want to continue to have a dynamic civilization, a dynamic species, is we need to go use the near infinite resources of space. And we can do that, but we need a new generation of entrepreneurs who can access space, and the infrastructure doesn't exist. So the analogy that I would offer to you is that in the internet, what I've watched over the last 20 years and been a part of, that in the internet, Mark Zuckerberg in his dorm room could create this $500 billion market cap company called Facebook. In space today, it's impossible for a college kid in their dorm room to create a great space company. because the price of admission is too high. It starts in the hundreds of millions of dollars and goes up from there. And so the job of Blue Origin, our job, we want to build reusable space vehicles that lower the cost of access to space to such a sufficient degree that the next generation of kids can start space companies in their dorm room. And we can have a dynamic thing. And then once that happens, we'll start moving all heavy industry and polluting industry. All of that will be moved to space. And we can zone Earth residential and light industry.